Good afternoon. Yes, welcome to the Freddie Mac and DataRobot session. I'm Balaji Wooputur. I've been in Freddie Mac for 14 years. I'm leading the data science and data engineering side of the house for single family. Uh, Today, I'm going to talk about how we are deriving the meaningful insights of AI and data together. Uh, then also, we are going to talk about how Freddie Mac has implemented AI with DataRobot at scale. Uh, so this will help us to move from the traditional frameworks to a more AI and database frameworks with leveraging DataRobot. So I'm going to just give my agenda is to cover what Freddie Mac single family is and how we are deriving business insights from the existing data and the new data set, and also how we built our data and AI platform. We have leveraged DataRobot for building the champion and challengers models for our business decisions. And I'm going to share some of the value proportions there. By closeout, we have a follow-up session, so I'm going to talk about the demo session there. So how many people know about Freddie Mac here? Great. Just to give an overview about Freddie Mac. Freddie Mac is formed by Congress. We had chartered in 1970. We have been part of to enable the U.S. housing financial system to ensure we are supplying mortgage funds across the country. So we are making home possible for families across the nation by creating and preserving more affordable home ownership. For the past 52 years, Freddie Mac has funded around 70 million loans here, and we have collected around 4.7 billion data points for the funded loans. And also today you see that there is 96 million borrowers information Freddie Mac has, and we have around 118 million properties across US. This year alone, you can see Freddie Mac has enabled around 480K first-time home buyers, which means like they are coming into the mortgage business and buying properties, and they're leveraging Freddie Mac here. So I want to just give an overview on the single family side, what happens, right? So a borrower applies for the loan application. The loan application is being received by Freddie Mac. The borrower's evaluation will start from there about the eligibility and underwriting. So the borrowers will see their rate lock, and the time clock starts there, right? Because the rate lock happens at 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. In the meantime, Freddie Mac is evaluating the borrower's loan application, and they're going to run on the decision intelligence about pre-approval and waivers for this loan. There we have leveraged DataRobot for doing some NLP processing as well as our time series analysis on the property side. So as this starts the process, once the eligibility is complete, the assessment is complete, then we have our borrower's loan terms, set up payment terms, and also we do a lot of risk analytics about the prepayment of the borrower loans. So let me take you a little down on how we are doing our decision intelligence with data, and how our pre-approvals and waivers have been benefiting the borrowers using AI and data here. As the loan application comes in, you have to evaluate borrowers as well as the properties. It's two sides of the coin. As you know that we have 100 million borrowers data, we have 118 million property data. So Freddie Mac has done a lot of historical data analysis and also evaluate borrowers' historical information on their current information. So what happens is, once the application comes, we'll get the data from various sources, that inclusive of banks, that inclusive of MLS, and also from appraisers. So if you need to generate a 360 view of this data, you need to understand about what's there in-house and how we can leverage that data set plus the new data coming through our application, right? So let's talk about the borrower side of the house. So as a borrower applies this loan, you're going to have to evaluate about borrowers' paying capacity. That inclusive of income, their income stability over a period of time. You need to evaluate their debts. You need to evaluate their assets. Then, as you know, the current, you know about their credit and the credit summary. So you need to have a lot of historical information to evaluate borrowers' capacity to pay this. So we have leveraged a lot of NLP techniques here because a lot of information comes as semi-structured as well as labels for us, like like JSON and other documents for us. So we have used NLP techniques in DataRobot to do the labeling and also the target value assessment for it. Then next thing we want to evaluate is collateral, which is the property side of the house. So as we know that property, we have to know what is the condition of the property, what is the value of the property, and also the property details, which means whether there is a change in the property from prior assessment to this assessment, there is a change in the property. So every property has a historical view. Like if a house is built for 30 years, you will have a historical assessment for all the 30 years. So today the house value has been changed, then we need to derive why it is changed. Does it make sense to give that loan to that information or not? For that, Freddie Mac has got information from county, multi-listing service, and appraisal. So with this, not one model will help us to derive all this meaningful information. So we have to build an ensembles of models to derive this information. So here, DataRobot's blueprint comes in very handy for us to know how many models we process and what are the different type of metrics we can evaluate. The benefit to the borrower is they're going to get an appraisal waiver. Like, you don't need to do a home inspection. You're getting waiver for it. And also the borrowers will know that whether they need to go for a mortgage insurance or not. Lastly, as the clock ticks in, we have to complete within the time frame, right? So Freddie Mac has automated so many processes in the borrower evaluation and the property evaluation. So the closing cycle has been reduced for the loan applications. So let me talk about the challenges we face in this, right? How DataRobot and these challenges come together. So as we started with saying that we have around 95 million 95 million borrowers information, 118 million properties, the volume of data is around millions and billions here. So that's a big challenge for us to run things at scale, right? Not traditional frameworks are not helping us to derive meaningful information. So we have to use some AI and we have to leverage some of the tools for it. And the variety of the data here, it's not even one form. You're going to have data coming in standard way of CSVs, XMLs, forms, even images. So now we need to have expanded our tool stack to ingest various varieties of information to derive meaningful insight. Then the velocity is not, again, it's coming in various different velocity, right? You may get daily, API-based, you may get weekly, and so your historical data continue growing from that space. So what we have done is we have standardized our data management process as the data comes in. We have cataloging metadata as well as have enough tools and engineering on top of it. For example, we have built pipelines for it to standardize the data as it comes in, and also we have leveraged agile methodology. So incrementally, we process the data sets in a more standard fashion. So this, again, all this data comes to all the different data sources. You may still have your legacy databases. You may have your object stores, S3 MinIOs. You have all the new data, databases like Snowflake and other things, right? So we cannot bring everything together. So we need a tool to connect all these data sources and then run through it. So our AI ML place where it starts a lot of experimentation, because we need that tool that connects all these sources and bring into a common platform for us to do AI metrics here. Here, we have used our DataRobot for a lot of experimentation. We have built thousands of models on this to see whether the features can be used for our business decisions. And also, we have leveraged their MLOps to start, building the model repository, as well as understanding, the metrics, features, and also various models that comes through DataRobot tool. And also DataRobot has given us a centralized place for us to see the dashboarding, which means you can see the features and also you can derive the subset of those features and see whether that feature makes sense for a business decision. If the data is not there, DataRobot has an option to fix the data or use only the data points that is required for the model, so that the data scientists don't need to spend more time on fixing the data sets. So that helps a lot. So instead of fixing data and training the model, now you have a holistic data that can be derived with meaningful decisions. That saves a lot of our time. Instead of running things in monthly, it comes to more hours for us. Where now the integration points, right? Now you are getting new data coming in. Now you have all your historical data, traditional data sitting in-house. This new data flows in for us. As the 360 view, we leverage here DataRobot for our lot of AI experimentation. So from here, I want to talk about the organizations who have done experiments rapidly on driving the data-driven decisions has been able to derive more value for it. And one of the things where you have to see the full value of AI is it's with data. You need to have interoperable technology, as well as you need to make a centralized place to run the models for users to make decisions. So here, as we start talking about DataRobot, right? DataRobot has two sides of the coin, as you say, right? One is experimentation, then you have a model operations. See, on the experimentation, DataRobot can be used to bring in all your legacy models. You written somewhere in SAS or Python, or you can bring that models to the data model and then bring it to DataRobot and have a baseline for it. Then you start expanding on it to connect to your data sources. It can connect to your legacy data sources, which is your data warehouses, and your SQLs also can be done to push down methodology instead of bringing the data into DataRobot. Then also it connects to various our unstructured and semi-structured data, which is in data lakes, and also they can integrate with our APIs here. DataRobot enabled us to run in any cloud. We have run it in AWS or any cloud there, and also it integrates with our security policies. So that's the side of the experimentation. We start using DataRobot. As the models come into ready for us to do an assessment, so we have to do model registry. If you see that, you need to understand the model deployment mechanism, as well as we had to share a lot of our documentation to our governance team, right? Why this model is picked, what is the KPIs, what are your documentation that this feature is performing to the accuracy levels, or your recall mechanism precision. There you'll have a great feedback from your audit and other teams where you have to present a lot of documentation. Plus, on the model side, on the MLOps side, where you can catalog your metadata information with your existing systems like your Colibra and other tools there. And also you can orchestrate the DataRobot jobs. Like if you want to schedule that based on the new data comes in and this model has to be refreshed, you can orchestrate the jobs, as well as you can integrate with your existing notebooks, which is your existing notebooks of any Databricks or Domino and other features there. So this gives us a lot of time saving for us. Instead of bringing all together here, the tool can go and connect and run it for various models. For any given feature engineering, you can get up to 50 models it can produce with their AutoML capability. So now you can have many challenger models to your champion model. So you can literally go back and explain why your champion model is better than your challenger model. That saved a lot of our time. You don't need to rerun every model. Now you get a holistic view of this feature, and also why you picked a champion model for your challenger models in DataRobot. So as we talk about features, the AutoML pipeline supports rapid experimentation, as you know that it can run hundreds of models parallelly. At the end of the automation, you can connect to your new data sources and you have a model, I would say, factory for you for a given feature, which means you can now, your scientist is more sitting and looking for the model outputs, their dashboards, so that they can pick up the right model to make a decision on it, right? Otherwise, you may have scientists running individually on different models, and you want to present them to a management or your governance team. You have to come together to put it in a dashboard and explaining the features. Here, this will help them quickly to identify the features, and also any tuning has to be done for those features. The DataRobot can enable you to fine-tune the models, and also it can help you to identify the data sets which is required for you to make the decision. And the one more good feature is, as we said, we need to have ensembles of model. You cannot have only one regression model or something to make a call, right? You may need to build an NLP model, you need to build a regression model, how these two all play together, right? So where DataRobot will give you a blueprint of how many models are used, what are the outputs of each feature, and how this decision came for it. So this helps us to provide more holistic view about all the models that comes into DataRobot and their outputs for us. So as you all know that, as I said that, right, we are building the experimentation. Now we need to find out the optimal models here. Each model has its own metrics, and each metric is derived for that feature. So for example, you have a champion model and you want to see whether the challenger model is very close to it, and what is a feature that is causing us not to be a champion model. Here, DataRobot will do a subset of data and creates a meaningful insight for us to say why this is not a champion model. This should be a challenger model. You can have everything in one place for your data scientist as well as to the governance team to produce the data set there. So we talked about the interoperability and the openness here. Now, as we build these models from various legacy tools, and also you're building new models here, DataRobot has inbuilt mechanism for our governance. We can publish reports on how each metric is being derived, and we have documentation for it so that the scientists are not abstracted with the decision, right? So you can have enough documentation to provide as we build the models. And the last here we talk about, you can continuously retrain the models. If you see the accuracy is being, drift is happening, and now for you to retrain the model, you have an option here to model registry and go and retrain the model and get back to the accuracy here. So DataRobot has one platform which can start from experimentation to the model deployment. It has various integration points, and also they have a dedicated industry teams. They have built some custom features for us so that we can leverage for our decision points. It helped us to robustly build our platform. I just want to talk about the 4 benefits we have seen. Speed to market is great for us because experimentation and to go to the live, we have able to pick up the experimentation and start building features on it. Faster decision making because it's all in centralized place for us to see the dashboards, metrics. Productivity recapture. This is where example of challenger models versus champion model, so that we can see why this model perform, what is the drift there. And total cost of reduction, as you know that we don't need to rerun individually. It is all in one place for us. So we can go back and see what is the output for our models. With that, so I have talked about how Freddie Mac has leveraged DataRobot for bringing meaningful insights from existing data. And also we built a lot of features on our new data sets. And this tool has been one of our AI tool that we've been using for our period of time. With that, we have a demo session planned for tomorrow. I think it's going to talk about anti-money laundering program. Talia from DataRobot going to talk about that. Any questions, please? Can you please use the mic?
for Freddie Mac for all the mortgage contributions. One concern I have is regarding with the advent of a lot more remote notary-based online closings, right? It's plausible that we just never get to meet a borrower even though the loan completes, right? So for addressing fraud, any steps that you can highlight that Freddie Mac is taking, just to, especially with the more advent of remote notary-based closings?
So we have worked directly with our lenders. So Freddie Mac as we have a lot of information, we will give that feedback to the lenders, and lenders will work directly with the borrowers, right? So we always constantly have a loop back with the lenders as we see the data coming into the system. So the lenders will directly contact the borrowers. Any questions? Oh, sure.
A question. 3 questions actually. I'll put one after one. Yeah. So what other platforms you consider before choosing the DataRobot? And DataRobot is a software as a service hosting in your own subscription or your own on-prem, whatever it is. Number 3, do you use it only for experimentation or you use for model deployment on this platform?
Sure. So the first question is, as you all know, there is no one product to solve this problem, right? So you are evaluated all the industry platforms where you get the benefit of flexibility and you have a more customization for you to work on. This tool has been a great tool for us. So that's first question to your answer. The second, when you talk about the SaaS solution, whether DataRobot can run in SaaS or where are you running? This is running in cloud. So for us, we are running in cloud. They have a SaaS solution. You can talk to DataRobot team. I think we have a couple of folks here. They can contact you and update you on that. The third question you had about whether you are using for experimentation and MLOps in the production side, right? So yes, experimentation. On the production side, we still have to continue to support our legacy process and also legacy business and the existing business. We can export the models as we build these models to our any code like Python or Java or which are we want to export, and we will run it in our platform for us. Did I answer all your questions? Thank you.
Right, thank you very much.